Wouldn't there be eyeliner? Exactly. But
Yeah.
to me, what I think I loved the most was when Matt Reeves said this, I immediately, my brain went blank. When he said Bruce is still learning, so there's going to be moments where he makes mistakes, where he goes too far.
Yeah.
It immediately reminded me of so many comic runs where you see Bruce snap, where he stopped becoming Bruce and he's now fully Batman. And it all came together in that scene where that we got to remember that guy that he beat up, those look like kids, not like small kids, but like teens. He looked like he was about to kill that kid, you know? And I can only imagine Alfred's probably in his ear like, that's enough. Like, stop it. You're going to kill this kid. And this is what the other Batman movies didn't do that it looks like Matt Reeves is diving deep into. The fear of Batman isn't a guy in a bat costume running around at night. It's the idea that cops, well, the world we live in now, you never know, but it's the idea of cops can only do but so much. Batman is that other 5%. So it's the fear of knowing he will take a 16-year-old, slam him on the ground, and punch the life force out of that child. That is what makes Batman so fearing.
It's up.
It's up?
It's up.
Please put it on.
Right.
That's what's so fearing from the Batman is that he will do what others won't. So seeing him look like he breaks his arm, and he's repeatedly punching him in the face. Oh man!
This reminds me of Batman Earth 1. I don't know if anyone has read that where he's.
You know what? He took influence from that too.
You know. That's why I said I think he took influence from everything.
A lot of different.
Yeah. Everything.
A lot of.
And no one ever brings this up. That red. When's the last time we saw that red when it came from the Batman? Not in the comics. Beware the Batman. That whole intro is that violent red, and Beware the Batman was much different than any other iteration of a cartoon from Batman that we saw. He was a lot more violent than obviously what cartoons would be willing to show you.
Sure.
That's probably why I didn't sell to kids. A parent walked in and was like, "Did he just? No, don't watch this."
Broke someone's leg in 3 different places.
Right. Go ahead.
He kind of just ruined my whole thing of like director or the movie studios reproducing like similar like reboots and things like that, because now we see why people keep doing a same character multiple times, because now we're getting the perfect one, it looks like. So he just destroyed my whole logic behind, hey, reboot, why do they keep doing it? Oh, that's why they keep doing it.
But here's the thing, Dom, because my dad said that, and what frustrated me about that is there's never anything wrong with getting the same character. Like, let's say they gave us a new Superman every 10 years, a new Iron Man every 10 years. The reason why there's nothing wrong with that is it's never going to be the one that you saw previous. Right. It's always new interpretations. And what's great about comics are there's over 150 different versions of Batman you could pull from.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I told him. I'm like, there's been like 60 Batman movies. None of them feel the same.
Right.
None of them. So to me, it's like I wouldn't mind if in 10 years we had another. She looks great, by the way. Her final suit, Catwoman's final suit, will probably blow us away. Michelle Pfeiffer had to like melt her into her suit. So I'm curious what they're gonna do for her. But the vibe of it felt like it felt grimy. It felt sticky. It felt yucky. Everything that you wanted a Gotham to feel like is what that trailer kind of made it feel like. I love how Alfred sounded. I wish we could have seen him. Yeah. I am curious, is this Alfred? Matt Reeves didn't talk about it, but I'm curious, is this Alfred hands-on? Is this Alfred your typical just butler? I bring you tea. I'm more of like, I talk you down. Because we know Ben's Alfred was building his shit. So it's like, what version of Alfred is this? But to see him grapple gun and come up, and then to see the cops all holding him back, and then it's like, James Gordon grabbing him.
Was in a fucking what do they call it?
Crime scene,
just walking around, in a cartoon.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? Remember in The Dark Knight when they go into the bank and then Batman appears and Gordon's like, everybody leaves.
Right. Yes. Everyone's dismissed.
Right, everyone leaves. The guy that's gonna really solve this is here. But I loved everything about this, and then just the 3-second fight with Catwoman, I was like, oh my, the choreography is sick.
Yeah, that looked very smooth. Very
smooth, right? And she looked authentic. She looked like Catwoman is who she's been playing for like 8 summers now. Like, this isn't new to her.
Right.
I love this. I also love that it seems like, from what Matt Reeves was talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it seems like whoever the true villain is of this movie is trying to bring out the true corruption of Gotham, and that it starts from up top, not from the slumlords below, up top, and it started with Gotham's richest family, the Waynes. And me and Joel know this because we've played and beat the games. But if you played the Telltale,
the Telltale games, yep,
that's all the first one was about.
Yeah.
And this seems very similar to exactly what that game was doing. Remember, we saw Catwoman for the first time there. We saw the Riddler there. We saw the corruption become a huge problem, and we saw Bruce was in the middle of it, because you're now torn between everything you thought you knew and everything that really was.
Right.
So I like this. I really like this.
I haven't seen one person dislike.
I don't know how you could. Here's the thing. You can't say,
woo!
I've been waiting for a accurate Batman, and then we get it, and then you complain. You can't. You shouldn't be able to do that.
And jumping on what you were saying with the Waynes, it seems to be they're going more towards the path where the Waynes are corrupt, because even in the Joker, it's Thomas Wayne is kind of a scumbag.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So now we've always been accustomed to the Waynes were very giving people. They taught Bruce how to be a kind person and what to do with his wealth. Now it's like they were shady. So
And
who knows what they really were doing in Gotham?
Exactly what like in Telltale.
Yes, but what I like about it was the point his dad was trying to make is no one gets to the top without getting their hands dirty.
Sure.
So it's like it's impossible to be that rich. And what do we always think of Gotham being? New York City, right?
Right.
We know everybody in power in New York City has blood on their hands. Yeah. Nobody got their money the clean way. So
right.
I like them digging right, exactly. I like them digging deep into that, and I am a little curious on Gordon. I would like to see a little bit more. I liked what I got from him, but this being like your prototypical whodunit murder mystery, what I love the most about it, because what does that mean, guys? What is Batman gonna have to do that we didn't really get to see full of in all the other movies? Be a detective.
Right.
Figure out who did it.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Use your money. Use your tech. But here's the thing. He's battling on two different. It looks like it. He's battling on two different ends. Because remember, if it gets out that his father was corrupt in any capacity,
right,
he's gonna have to come out and answer for that. And his Bruce Wayne seems isolated from society. This Bruce Wayne does not seem like he's eager for the spotlight like we've seen some other Bruce Waynes. This one seems more like I'd rather just be Batman. Right. I don't want to be Bruce Wayne.
Wow, you can get Batman shirt. I think AJ was saying.
Oh, is that what he was saying?
Right? No, you said you got Batman.
No,
shirt?
AJ left. Remember, he left. Shit, if you can do that, send me the link. Let's order some Batman shit. Let's do some Batman shit.
I think I'm about to.
But Joel, you've been. I feel like you haven't said much. You want to add anything?
I'm still like awestruck.
I just sent it to my dad, and he's like, "Damn, yeah, boy." I'm like, "I know, Pop. You know, I've been waiting for this. I was bored. This is the Batman we've been waiting for." Oh man, but yes, that was everything. Like, I get now why everyone was hyping that up. I I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I get it. And what sucks is we'll never know what Ben's solo Batman movie could have been.
Right.
And if it would have been anything like this, to where it was detective driven, we'll never know. And as Joel always tells me, who cares?
I'm hoping. I think Matt Reeves wants to make a trilogy, if I remember reading correctly. I'm hoping what they do is that they steer completely different from what Nolan did, where Batman, his whole point of being Batman was to not be Batman anymore. Right. After a certain point, like put it into the citizens' hands to take back their city.
Right.
The Batman I like, he's given up everything to be Batman. You know, he's given up family, love.
That's why Alfred is so important, because
right.
he does not want a wife, a kid, you know, the white picket fence. No.
Right.
But that's what I was saying earlier, Dame. This Batman seems like he only wants to be.
That's
Batman.
What I want.
And what's good about Matt Reeves' Batman is, I think, maybe, correct me, Joel, if I'm wrong, Michael Keaton's Batman was the only other Batman that we got. Well, obviously, Batman Begins, but is this early into being Batman. So we don't have to worry about, like, by his third movie, he's tired of it. He's only in his early 30s. Well, that's what made Ben's Batman suck. It's like, yeah, of course you're ready to retire. You're 90.
Right. We saw at the end. Keaton we saw at the beginning, but like it wasn't like beginning.
No. It wasn't like I just came back to Gotham.
No.
Just put it on for the first time.
There was no origin story.
No. We can say this: his Batman had been around for a while. I would just say no longer than 3 years.
Yeah.
Before that,
because he was still technically a myth in the '89 Batman.
Exactly. Bale's Batman we got fresh from.
Man, Bale's Batman we got 3 years max, and they retired and came back 8 years later, and then retired again.
Yeah, that didn't make sense. Like I didn't understand where Nolan was going with that. Oh, sure. Batman had spent. Yes. Zoom. Tell her it's going to be on Zoom. What's funny is Nolan spent 3 movies telling you how corrupt Gotham was, right? Mm-hmm. And then he said by the third movie, hey, I think it's okay now for you to let
right. We're done here.
Back over. And it's like, I don't think that's how corruption works. I think once Batman's gone, they'll just go back to being corrupt again.
That was my only issue with the Nolan movie, that he kind of wanted to end it. I'm like, why? I went to the end. You don't end it.
Yeah, Batman doesn't say, all right, guys, I've achieved level 30. I can hang
right.
out. Like, no. Like,
time for a new campaign.
Right? Like, this is forever. And the funnier thing was, he left the keys to Dick and didn't train him not once.
No.
Hey, take over.
He gave him 2 pieces of advice. It was one to wear a mask.
Right.
And what was the other piece of advice? It was like, always have a secret identity or something like that.
Right. Right. And then he left.
Yeah. Like, here are the keys to the Batcave. Figure it out. No one taught me how to do it. I had to figure it out.
I had to figure it out. So, you know, and it's like, hey, you got no Alfred either. So, you know,
right.
do it alone. It's like, wait, what?
It's not my fault you weren't trained by a group of assassins.
Right? Yeah. Come on. Not everybody had that.
But at the same time, how we were talking about how, you know, there's so many iterations of it. That was just Nolan's version of Batman. He was one that didn't want to continue fighting.
Right.
Hopefully this one is one that, you know, kind of has to be talked down from fighting too much.
Yeah, but see, this is why, and I think I get what Matt Reeves and Hamada are trying to do. I think their mindset is, if we do 3 movies without introducing him to a universe, we can fully flesh out who this Batman is. Because the first thing I thought after that trailer was, God damn, could you picture this Batman trying to join the Justice League? Like, Superman would be like, Batman, did you stab him? What are you doing? Like, I don't think you should be doing this.
Even Affleck's Batman shouldn't really be in the Justice League. He gets criminals killed.
Yeah.
He branded them motherfuckers.
The last thing he said to Lex was, "I got a few friends over there
Right.
that are waiting for you." It's like
He runs people over. Affleck runs people over with his car.
yeah. Batman
that's
meant business.
Yeah.
He meant business. There were no games being played by Batman.
No, you don't get another chance. There's no revolving door at Arkham anymore. It's a one-way ticket.
Nope. And Batman didn't believe in rehabilitation. It was like, nah, man, you ran over someone once. All right, you're gonna die in here. Wait, what?
An eye for an eye.
I don't think that's how this works, Batman.
Well,
but Dan, before you go,
yeah.
what stood out to you out of all of DC FanDome today?
Oh, well, obviously, I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'm going to say, obviously, the Batman trailer was great. It's probably, I was keeping up with everything on my phone. That's probably my favorite. I was disappointed with Black Adam. A friend of mine said it reminded him of, like, an Injustice ending, the game Injustice. So, yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that.
No, what? The movie was just pictures.
Well, here's the thing.
There's no animation.
To me, and I don't want to hold you too long, but to me, everyone's expectations should have already been low, mainly because it's still so early into production.
Yeah.
There's just like
it's
everyone
art though, which is fine.
Right, but here's the thing.
Sure.
Shazam 2 had a panel, and it just gave you a name of the movie, and everyone lost their mind.
And they loved
like
it.
that was it.
Yeah.
That was all it got. It's like, hey guys, Sinbad, and we got a name.
Sinbad.
Oh, and I'm like, Shazam literally gave you. Not Shazam. Black Adam gave you the history of it and what he's gonna look like, and it confirmed the JSA. Who the members were going to be, and what they might look like. So I'm like, if you were like, it just depends on what your expectations were. But anyone who was disappointed, your expectations shouldn't have been that high because it's so early on.
Sure.
You know, it's like if Marvel did this and Spider-Man had a panel and all they showed you was what the villain will look like and what Spidey's new suit is, and you go, I was expecting more. Why? Nothing is started yet. Like, what are you doing? But I'm sorry.
This is worse than the Blade reveal with the hat on, and that was it.
Right? But wait, Dom, the internet
do.
went crazy when that happened. But Black Adam just shows you photos and people like,
nah, I want to see.
Well, I think the whole reason is you have this entire show dedicated around all of these characters. So yeah, I do think people do get their expectations really high, and when you only bring a name or concept art, it's kind of like, well,
to be
that's
fair,
cool.
Though, Dan, we had a Comic-Con one year where they were doing Spider-Man Homecoming. Do you know what they showcased at that panel? A flip book where it just showed what the characters look like. That was it, and people were like, "I'm satisfied."
I think a lot of that is goodwill.
Yeah,
that's fair. That
maybe.
Is.
Listen,
all the time for Black Adam, so we want a little
yes,
more.
I get it.
And
wet the beacon.
I understand. I completely agree. And my only issue was they should have confirmed at least one more cast member, and I would have been fine.
I mean, to me, it's my question is, why aren't you further along with your finalized cast?
Like, we know they're close. Sure. Rumors are already coming out about Hawkman. They just haven't finalized it yet.
Right.
I think some of the letdown comes from The Rock building it up to be this big thing.
He's also,
you know, that's what it is. He's like, got this, and we've been talking about it, and I've been working out, and then you're like, that's not even really you. Like,
I mean, The Rock does that. The Rock hyped up his game show, and I watched one episode, and I was like,
well, he's the master of hype. So
right.
I think it would have been cool if I don't think they did, but it would have been cool if they showed him in the actual costume.
That's what I was looking for.
Right? Okay.
Because what I said was, Dan, heading into this, there's no way he has not tried it on already.
Right.
So
imagine
you have even if it's one of those promotional photos where you just take it to kind of get a look to see if maybe there's something you want to alter. Right. They have a photo in someone's office somewhere of him in that costume. Yeah. That's all we needed to say.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for inviting me, and Absolutely. It was a pleasure watching this stuff with you. I got to get going, but have a nice night, everybody.
Take care, Dan.
Bye.
Dom, I want to ask you while we wait for Tia and everybody else to join. Did you get a chance to catch up? Check out the Wonder Woman trailer, the Shazam name reveal. There was nothing from Aquaman, so you didn't miss anything from that panel. Whatever.
Yeah, Aquaman barely showed anything. Shazam only gave us the title.
Right. Oh, Gotham
Knights.
Yes.
Oh my! Did you see that trailer?
Did you see that?
That was really good.
Yes.
Okay, so just talk about some of the stuff that stood out to you.
No, well, I mean, Wonder Woman, obviously, that trailer, like, when I first heard Kristen Wiig becoming Cheetah, I'm just like, Kristen Wiig, like, I mean, I like her, but like, that, why? Like, that doesn't work. And then you see her as this kind of, defeatist type of person that's just like, nah, fuck that, it's my turn. It works, and I've said before, and I was wrong in my assumption initially, but because she's like a comedic actor, and I think comedic actors or comedians are some of the best actors because of their internal sadness, and she definitely looks the part, and it's very unfortunate that the movie had got pushed back originally because like it looks really good.
I'm curious why it got pushed back now.
Well, the first time I don't know. The second time I know, I was the pandemic.
Go ahead, Dom.
But am I right to assume that if the Batman is on Earth 2, then eventually we'll get a Val Zod?
Well, I don't expect this Batman to have a Justice League.
No, okay. So I'll say this.
Unless they merge it.
The whole point of them separating this, I truly believe this is Matt Reeves in Hamada just wanted to establish this Batman.
This is basically a live-action graphic novel.
Right. So they wanted it to be as authentic as possible, Elseworld feeling, but not Elseworld.
Right.
They could do whatever they want. And then I think what they're doing is they're going to come down to once this third movie is out and finished and they're talking about making another Justice League, they're going to look at the board and say, do we want Batman Beyond or do we want Pattinson's Batman? Right. And then they'll be forced to make a decision on that. Because you're not telling me Keaton is a Nick Fury type for the DCEU, and your plan isn't Batman Beyond.
Right.
So that's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's going to come down to, them deciding. Because here's the thing.
Get Batman, it'll be Keaton as Bruce and Terry as Batman.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking too.
It's going to be a decision they have to make.
Keaton looks just like him from the series.
That's for sure. And the crazy thing is, I think that it's going to come down to them asking him, do you want to continue being Batman? And I think if Robert Pattinson says yes, Terry McGinnis is on the back burner. That might become like an HBO Max series or something like that with Keaton at the helm of it. But ultimately, I find it hard to believe that if Pattinson after 3 movies says, I want to continue, brother says, nah, we're going to go Batman Beyond. I think that's what it comes down to. Hey, Tia.
Come on. Hey, Dom. Are you living for that trailer?
He fucking cried, Tia. You weren't there. He was sobbing.
I wasn't.
Like a little bitch.
I was crying, and I'm glad I recorded it because I don't want anyone to ever question my love for Batman.
No, so I just got in the door like 5 minutes ago. I was like, okay, let me watch. Like, first, I didn't even know they released a trailer, right? I just like went on Twitter and I saw it on the Geek Fives Twitter. I was like, okay, let me sit down and watch it. I was like,
yeah, no, it was my dad texted me and was like, damn. And I'm like, I know.
I don't want you to ever doubt that I actually am a fan of Batman, okay? I don't want you to ever doubt.
You sometimes scare me. I know you love Batman, but you sometimes have takes where I'm like, Tia, come on now. But no, Dom, I'm sorry. I want to go back to Dom, Tia. I was
it's fine.
Since we didn't have him on throughout the day, to give us just his thoughts on the stuff that he got a chance to see. You were talking Wonder Woman, Dom. It looked beautiful. What were your thoughts on Cheetah, man? Did you like the reveal of Cheetah?
Yeah, like it's I feel like Cheetah is always one of those characters that like when I saw, I was always kind of like, why? You know what I mean? Because I will say that DC does have some, Marvel does too, but I feel like the DC ones are more prevalent, that they have these characters with like very basic names, and you're just like Cheetah. You know what I mean? So,
Superman, the most basic fucking
like,
name
whoa,
ever.
so then when you actually get to see it play out this way, and it leaves nothing to the imagination of like the aggression and the seriousness of the character, it makes it that much better looking. And I mean, get to see Gal Gadot on screen is, I'm just, you know, wherever she's in, I'm gonna watch. So, and I watched the original Wonder Woman late, but then once I watched it, I was like, why did that take so long? Because I have said, recently that like DC is slowly, starting to climb that like over the ladder over Marvel with some of the things they're putting out because of the way it looks and the way they're able to do it without having to do like the kind of Marvel overt comedy to like make this a little more lighthearted. The DC, their comedy feels a little more honest, except for Shazam. But they look really good. I mean, I'm excited for Suicide Squad.
I mean, before you go into Suicide Squad, I want to talk to that point you just made, Dom, because I think that's important. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, you're good. What's going on, Will? I'm gonna go to you right after Dom kind of recaps, because he wasn't on throughout the day like you weren't. So I'm catching up with him. But what's important about what you said, Dom, is everyone said it's gonna be almost impossible to get to where the MCU is, and I've been firm on this by saying that's not true, because what people keep forgetting is the three most iconic superhero characters. I want to say that again. The most iconic superhero characters come from DC. They have the ultimate cheat code. A Superman, a Batman, a Wonder Woman will always sell. Do you know what wouldn't sell about 25 years ago? Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, anybody that wasn't the X-Men or Spider-Man. So to me, it does not take 15 years for DC to get to where the MCU is. This Batman movie showed you that being that good. If we get a Superman movie and Wonder Woman 84 looking that good, puts them right where they need to be. Mm-hmm. Their problem is everything after those three characters have to remain on par. That's where they have to figure that out, because Marvel made a $1 billion movie with a fucking talking raccoon in a tree. Okay? So if you can do that, that lets you know.
It with a walking, talking shark.
There you go.
I was gonna say, and they brought that same director over. DC was like,
exactly.
"Oh shit, Marvel was able to do that."
Yes, the weasel.
And like James.
So that's where DC's biggest problem is, and I just wanted to make that clear, because if DC wanted to, dropping a Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman movie will always put you right up there. The problem is you have to maintain that success with a Flash movie, with an Aquaman, with a Shazam, with a Black Adam, with a Suicide Squad. So if they can hit on all of these movies in the next, 10 years, there is nothing to talk about, oh, no, Marvel is still way over. No, you're wrong. You're kidding yourself if you think that. They'll be right there. And let's remember this. What was the other advantage Marvel had over DC? They were starting to make better shows, right?
Yeah.
I think we can nip that in the bud right now. Doom Patrol, great. Stargirl, great.
Yeah.
All these HBO Max shows that they're about to produce, they look like they're going to be really good. So there is no more, they're leaping bounds over DC. It's now our time, DC fans. It's catching up. We're right there. I feel like DC, Joel, is the Warriors in 2013. That very next year, they took right off. But yeah, so Dom, you're getting into Suicide Squad. Your thoughts on that? Me, Tia, and Joel were dying at how hilarious this looks and how great and authentic and accurate. I don't know how familiar you are with some of the looks. They're Rick Flag just having the yellow shirt with the gun straps.
Right.
So accurate. Like, why did that take so long? But your thoughts on the Suicide Squad, Dom?
So I'm like Tia. I like the original, the first one, and it kind of seems like they kind of were able to pick up that kind of levity from the first one, and then let James Gunn come do what he's gonna do, because it seems like everyone, cast and crew together, is so amazed about what's being, and it's you don't hear a lot of actors being amazed when they're making it. They were like, oh, I saw it. It's amazing. But they're blown away, and they're while they're making it. So that leads me to believe that this is going to change your mind on Suicide Squad. But no, it just like you said, like DC's time apparently, because I think they're able to balance all these tones, right? If you watch all the Marvel movies in a row, the tone is kind of always in the same spot,
Right.
and DC is able to give their characters the tone that they want, the tone that the character brings when you're reading the comics, and they have that balance of like, this is funny, this one's kind of funny, this one's dark, this one's kind of, you know what I mean? So, and you don't get tired of it. So every one you watch, you're like, oh, I can change my mood instead of being kind of like one continuous lighthearted party. But the video game trailers look great. And I'm not a huge gamer, but like I'm slowly getting back into it. We just got Mortal Kombat. We just got Mortal Kombat 11, and I was whooping ass. So I was like, I'm gonna get back into the groove of things. What else did I see? I mean, it was a great day. Like I didn't expect it to be as good as it was because I was more a Marvel guy. But like I think I can wear a DC Marvel shirt together.
There's room for both. There's room for both, Dom. There's room for both. I tell people all the time. No, he was saying he was a Marvel fan. He's starting to work into being. I tell you this, Dom. People made fun of me all the time. Growing up, everyone was watching Batman. I was watching Iron Man, Iron Man. It was just called Iron Man. Yeah, I was watching that. I was loving the hell out of that. Everyone was like, "What are you missing out on Batman?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching it, but I like this Iron Man guy."
Yeah, I think as much as like you said, as much as I'm a Marvel fan, others are Marvel fans. Everybody knew Batman. Everybody knew Superman. Everybody knew Wonder Woman. And even if you didn't like, maybe 2 out of 3, if you were any kind of geek, you're any kind of kid that liked that kind of realm, Batman was in the top. I mean, if you're watching X-Men animated series, you're definitely watching Batman animated series because like the tone shift and the characters and like when I put in that trailer, true Batman. So their time is coming, and we're gonna have to watch out now because now that they have HBO Max is like a platform to have all their shows backing and Disney gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to change things up.
Yeah, I mean Disney is now at a point where they can't afford a mishap. But we know them too well. They don't really have any. So that's not even
giant announcement Monday.
Where Marvel just comes out and goes, "We're canceling everything. DC's taking over." Sorry, guys.
No way. If anything, they're gonna come out with some crazy shit that we're gonna be like.
They're gonna announce that Black Widow is going to go into Disney Plus like September 15th.
I've been dying to watch that.
What's funny? I legit told my dad yesterday when we were talking on the phone. I said, "How funny would it be, Dad, if they waited till DC FanDome was over and just released 2 trailers to Eternals and then to Falcon and Winter Soldier?"
Smart.
I said, how much of a dick move would that
be? They're going to have to. I mean, today was just was DC, hats off to you. I mean, this was when you think about it, and we'll, Sarah and I were DMing back and forth throughout the day. DC was killing it, and especially when you consider how. And by the way, this Will Polk. Sorry, John, I just jumped in.
No,
yeah. And I can't stay long because my family's going to kill me if I've been like 8 hours straight on the computer. But I did want to hop on real fast just to get some quick thoughts. I mean, when you think about this, was what Comic-Con should have been. And obviously the big properties, DC, Marvel, were not there this summer. But I mean, even this is the roadmap as far as if you're going to have to do something virtually, this is how you do it. So, first off on that, without getting into all the various content that was dropped today, just big picture, I was thoroughly enjoyed. I was like, at first I was like, I'll just, have my things down as far as like, what I was planning on watching. And the next thing I know, I was like, well, hell, I'm just going to watch every single panel, which I think I ended up doing. So it was just an amazing event. So yeah, I love the discussion you guys were just having, and I think DC has up their game. I think it was smart to break the event up into 2 weekends, and I do think Marvel's going to probably do something. September 12th is the I think the is the second part of DC FanDome, and I'm not kidding. September 15th, they're going to be saying, "You're right." I think some trailers are going to drop, and who knows, maybe they will put Black Widow on Disney Plus, because the way the pandemic's going up and down, with college kids going back to school and cases going back up. I can't see movie theaters opening up en masse anytime soon, so they're going to have to do something.
I'll say this: as of now, they still have Falcon and the Winter Soldier listed as coming out this fall. They have not changed that yet. So, right. So I believe one or two things. If that moves to next year, Black Widow will move to next year. They have no interest in putting that on video on demand.
They may. I disagree. I think there's a good chance that well, then again, who knows? I mean, Christopher, Tenet is coming out. Who knows? Maybe they'll release it overseas. Yeah,
the difference is Christopher Nolan has been fighting them to just release this movie. He just wants it out. Yeah. I think Kevin Feige, and you got to remember, it's not up to Feige. This is a Disney decision. Yeah. I think releasing Mulan being one of your lighter movies, if you're Disney, you're kind of like, if we take a loss, we don't mind on that.
See, I think. So I was looking to see what they were going to do with Mulan, because I think I was under the impression that Mulan was actually going to be one of their big tentpole films for the year, because it was just, they're taking it from the cartoon to the live action, just like they did Lion King and others. So I was looking at it from that standpoint. Granted, it wasn't as big as Lion King. I mean, it was big, but not as big as Lion King. But it was still a big picture, big named film. So if they surrendered and said, "Hey, we're going to drop Mulan on Disney Plus right now with the option to re-release in theaters down the road," they can do the same thing with Black Widow. And they're gonna. I'll be honest with you. I'll be one of those fans that, like I said on our podcast earlier this week, I would drop money to go to watch it on Disney Plus, and whenever it's safe to go back to a movie theater, I'll be walking right along to go see Black Widow on the big screen too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Disney it's not going to lose anything by dropping it on Disney Plus.
Only difference is, think of it like this, right? If Joel tells me he's paying $30 for Black Widow, do you know what I'm not doing?
Spending $30.
Paying $30 to watch Black Widow.
Yeah, it'll be that.
I'm coming over here.
Oh, yeah, that'll be that. Yeah. I mean, it's like pay-per-view for a fight. It's like pay-per-view for MMA. I mean, people gonna have big house parties to go do this, but
But so I think if you're Disney, because you have to equate it to what their mindset would be of a box office. So to them, it's like charging $30 is the price of 2 tickets. So to them, it's like, all right, if I know that I have some kind of software that it's impossible to share or whatever, so everyone has to buy it, cool. We know we don't live in a world like that. We know people are going to share. So if you're Disney, you're thinking, can I hold off till March-ish of next year to put this movie out? I think that becomes a decision they then have to make. And remember, we also haven't heard anything about The Mandalorian. Is The Mandalorian still coming out the time that they said at the beginning of the year?
What I've last heard from Jon Favreau is it's still on target for October. I mean, because it's done. I mean, they were able to finish it. So.
I do have a big issue. We have not had a trailer yet. Well, you're talking about it's ultimately coming out in a month and a half.
I will say though, really quick, with Black Widow, which I know this is like Marvel talk on like a thing about DC FanDome, but eventually business is going to have to bend. because say they do push it aside to next year. That means they have to push other things to next year. They need to push filming. Things aren't always going to be available once you push. We saw how Juwan is so upset that I Am Not Okay With This got canceled due to COVID reasons. And it's like, if you keep pushing, you run the risk of certain actors not being available, certain locations not being available. That messes everything up. Eventually, 4 months ago, yes, Disney had all the rights to say, let's just wait with the Black Widow. But at this point, you just gotta, it's the nature of the business now. You just have to bend at some point. And I will be one of those people, like Will, dropping the money to watch this film. And if it comes back into theaters, I'll go get the theater experience as well.
Yeah. No, and go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
No, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take us down a Marvel path, but I just, I just, given especially given that, like, for example, with today with the Batman, and they had, we learned this week they had 25% of the film in the can, and they are starting to get back into production. And to Tia's point, she's right. At some point, you're gonna, if you keep pushing things off too much, other projects and other considerations are going to start to come into play, especially as things do start getting back in production. And of course, scheduling is going. The world that we knew it before is completely changed now. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of just changes as far as film schedules and stuff. I mean, thinking of getting back to DC, I will be completely surprised if Wonder Woman stays on that October date at this point. I'm just, that's what their goal is, but they do have HBO Max now in place. I mean, I could see a scenario where it could go, even though.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I said I could see Disney pushing it and I could see Warner Brothers pushing it to bring it back to DC, we got to remember, 45% of the movies that were supposed to come out this year got pushed to next year. That's a huge chunk of movies. So if they were all willing to do it, it's a really good possibility Disney says, I don't want to put it out on my streaming service. It's just too big of a movie. And think of it like this. How comfortable do you feel about your first female-led Marvel movie not having a theatrical release?
If this were normal, though, if this were normal circumstances, and they said last year in 2019, oh, we're going to drop Black Widow on Disney Plus, then yes, I'd be like, hello, what are you talking about? But in 2020, I would hope that people's minds would be a little more adjusted and understanding. Bringing it back to DC with the Batman having only 25% of the film actually filmed, didn't they say that they were changing all of their outside locations to now be inside? That's a sacrifice that they need to make.
Right.
But luckily, and this is what a lot of people may not know, you can build your own set inside the.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
Plenty of the great movies.
You're not losing anything. All you're losing is the authenticity of the location.
The natural.
Right. So it's like, oh man, I wanted the natural sun. Can't get that now. I have to make it. But I'll say this to talk about the Batman, Will, because I want to touch on the Batman and Wonder Woman before you have to jump off.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, and I gotta get my chills out. If that's just what 25% of this movie looks like, I don't know if I could take 100%.
Yeah.
like, wow.
I'm not going to see Joel's during a movie.
Joel's never seen me laugh during a comedy, act surprised during a horror movie. He's been waiting for a response. Stone face the whole movie. The Batman will be the first time I cry, laugh, get excited, get shocked. Everything.
Everything. We So I was texting back and forth with Sarah, my podcast partner. She she told me before she signed off for tonight, because she's been like, she's like, she's done. She's has to charge up for the rest of the weekend, but she's already watched the trailer 4 times. and
We're
I've
waiting to
watched
watch
it.
it another 4.
Yeah, I'm like behind. I've only watched it twice. I got to get caught up. And every time, I was just saying, look, I just got to take tomorrow just to like process everything that I have watched today, because, how you guys are amazing doing a live react for 8 hours. It's just major props to you. I've got to process it. I probably will go back and watch. There's a couple panels I do want to watch again, so I'm glad that do have the opportunity to do that. But I just wanted to just pop on real fast just to say, love DC FanDome. Thought it was a great event, and look forward to hearing the rest of your discussion and going back and seeing some of your other thoughts and stuff. Real time, your gut reactions from earlier today. But just wanted to hop on to say a quick hello, and thanks for having me on again. And been trying to retweet some of your stuff, and thanks for always for supporting our Scene Nerd podcast with sharing our content and having me on here as well. So
absolutely will.
Yeah, so we're doing our recap on Monday, because we're both kind of just we got to process tomorrow. We got to process it all. But
it is, for sure.
But look for our stuff, and thanks for having me on.
Can't wait to listen. Well,
enjoy the rest of your Saturday night and your weekend, man.
All right, you guys take care.
You too. Make sure you guys check out Will and Sarah on Scene Nerd. We post everything that they do, so you guys will be up to date on when all new episodes come out. They make amazing content. They were where I went to for all my CW stuff, really.
I'm sure the CW folks, we got you guys from Marvel, so it all equals out.
Yeah, no, it definitely balances out. But thank you very much, Will.
Yeah, y'all have a good night.
You too. Tia, I want to ask you, me, Dom, and Joel and Dan were talking about it before you hopped on. What were some of the things that stood out to you from this Batman trailer? We spoke to how dedicated he is to Batman more so than Bruce. We spoke to how violent he's willing to go. Those look like kids. He pulled one of the kids out and was just like, I'm going to kill you.
Some kids need an ass whooping.
Yeah.
They're very cocky little bastards.
You ever hear someone say, I can tell your parents never whooped you?
Yeah.
Batman took that to a whole new level. He was like, did your mom ever whoop you? No. Beat your ass today. He did the move that the kid did in the video you showed me. He was like, wow. But no, what were some of the things that stood out to you, Tia, from this Batman? I want to say teaser. Even though it felt like a full-length trailer, let's just say teaser. It's only 25% of the movie. Right. I'll say this, though, really quick before you go, Tia. I feel like if this movie was completely done, the way they would have ended this trailer is when they said, who are you anyway? I am vengeance. You would have heard him say, I am the night. And then it would have faded to black, and then it would have said, and no, you would have heard I am, and then it would have just said the Batman. And then when I tell you, just like my soul would have left, because we haven't heard that since Kevin Conroy.
Right.
And to me, that is iconic because of Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, why can't we hear that?
He said, I am vengeance. Do it.
Who have we heard that from since Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, basically.
I haven't heard Bill or Ben say I am vengeance. Ben was too busy killing you to say anything. But so, yeah, I'm sorry. The floor is yours. Your thoughts on this Batman teaser?
So obviously Robert Pattinson emulating Bucky Barnes with that eyeliner.
Maybe it's Maybelline. It was a commercial for that.
No, but seriously, it was so good. Just the way it was formatted, how it was introduced. Little things that I noticed in the trailer when they showed Zoe Saldana as Zoe Kravitz. Oh my god.
Zoe Saldana sitting somewhere like, me? Am I?
I feel like no, you know what it was when we were talking about Suicide Squad and we were talking about how James Gunn said that it was like the best movie that he's ever filmed, and I said that Zoe Saldana was sitting there going,
double dip.
That's not bad.
No, but Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, I don't know if you noticed, but the shot behind her, and she looks like she's wearing just like a hat maybe, but it has the little points there, very little subtle. First of all, I didn't even notice that was Penguin.
Right?
Like at first, Kanan posted the photo, and I was like, "Oh my God, what a transformation!" Right? Jeffrey Wright looked great as Commissioner Gordon. I know that's such a little thing, but I'm such a fan of his from Westworld that it just made me so happy to see him there. But Robert Pattinson in that suit looked so amazing. I mean, and I'll admit it, that if a few years ago, I only associated Robert Pattinson with Twilight. And I think that this is going to people are going to forget. People may not have even realized he was in Twilight, and this is going to be what people remember him by, is an awesome Batman. I mean, it really looks like he is embodying this. And it's not just one-dimensional brooding, right? When I say brooding, it's like, yes, brooding, but you can also see other layers. But my favorite part is when he just started wailing on that one guy, and I was like, oh, that's violent. We're getting a pretty violent Batman. And to me, that was just amazing, the whole thing. But I love that so clearly, and I wasn't sure about this beforehand, that the Riddler is going to be the main villain, because this trailer was very centered around, say, riddles, it seemed. And then
let me ask this before you continue, because I was a little confused. I thought it's not confirmed who the main villain is.
And that's the thing is that I don't know or not, but I'm assuming it's based on a trailer. Maybe that's just because they've only shot 25% of it, but it seemed very heavy on the riddles. And then even the title card was a question mark, 0, a question mark, and then 1, which was so cool to even put that in there.
What we've seen a lot of in Batman comics, Joel can speak to this because he's read a million more than I have, is the one thing we've learned when it comes to Batman's world is it's very easy to frame another villain. So, albeit I do think the Riddler plays an important role, I would not be shocked if we're like, all right, it's obviously the Riddler. We get 30 minutes in, and it's like, wait a minute, he was in his cell the whole time? Who the hell is doing this then, I mean, we saw it with something as simple as, what's the guy with the tape all around, the Hush? With Hush. So I'm like, it happens in Batman's world where you look one way and you're like, all right, we know who this is.
The last time we saw Hush,
it was Riddler. Yeah, it was. I just say this. He said,
this time with Riddler, it's gonna be fun.
Right? But he did say in the panel that this was very much, correct me if I'm wrong, a murder mystery type of feel.
Yeah.
So I find it hard to believe if he says that, he spoils it in the trailer.
Right. So,
and I felt that when in the beginning where they showed the guy with the duct tape around his face and said no more lies. It's like, okay, they're clearly solving a mystery, which is what Matt Reeves had said that his Batman film would be, is touching upon that detective background of Batman, which is never really touched upon in Batman films. Oh, Joanne, it was so good. I mean, I just watched it once, right? So literally right before I got on, so I didn't notice probably all the details that you guys have noticed. But I mean, this is the first time, you're going to hate me, but this is the first time since Christian Bale's Batman that I have felt an excitement for Batman. I mean, listen, this is a miracle on itself, because as I said, if you had told me 5 years ago that Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, I would have been like, no, ew, trash, throw it away, blah, blah, blah.
See, but that's where I said, when you said, see, I can't question you about your love for Batman. That is the only question mark I've ever had for you, Tia. You disliked the only Batman unanimously known as being one of the better portrayals of both Bruce
opinion. It's an opinion. You saw Dan on here like not only a few hours ago agreeing with me.
Tia, Ben being the best Batman would have been solidified had he had his own solo. But
I know it's solely because he has a cleft chin. Like, I really feel like that's
you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? The thing is, Tia, the first thing everyone said when they started releasing like the photos of his Bruce Wayne was how accurate he looked to the animated Bruce Wayne. It was like the size, the build. It's so accurate. And then when you see his Batman, the only thing that put a lot of people off was Zach went to the one form of Batman not many people enjoyed, and that was the Batman that wouldn't mind slitting your throat if he had to. So it was that took away from people truly appreciating it. But if his Batman was somewhat like what Roberts looks to be, which is toting the line but not actually branding you and you know, like maybe killing you, right?
Well, I think
Batmobile through your car.
I think Bruce
would appreciate it more.
I think Zach's Bruce Wayne also the problem is I don't think that people really want to say this. I don't want to say washed up Batman, but, you know, someone who's older, run down. It's depressing, right? It's like, unless it's in a Batman Beyond, say, scenario where you have the very older Bruce Wayne being the mentor towards, you know, the new Batman. I don't know. I think that could have also been a problem because it's like there's nothing really that exciting. Whereas this is exciting, you know, it's bloody. It's power-packed. I think that also helps it because, yes, it has a darker tone. Gotham should always have a darker tone. I'm not, you know, that there should never be a question about that. But to have this, like, excitingness where instead of it's so depressing, I think that also helps.
I will say this. I'm holding out to see what Matt Reeves does with his world going forward. My issue with Nolan was it was too realistic. He started to forget that it's based off of a comic book character. Yeah. So I'm curious, if you're Reeves, do you shy away from a Clayface? Do you shy away from Batman's other villains that aren't as grounded as a Riddler, as a Penguin, as a Joker? You know, do you dive deeper into the mythos of not Ra's al Ghul, of other characters of Batman's that aren't your prototypical, all right, well, this is a guy I can shoot in the face and kill. Like, no, Batman has villains that are powered. And, you know, are you going to dig into that? So
I would say the only thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Reeves is the man behind, Matt Reeves is the man behind the Planet of the Apes movies, right?
Two of them.
So considering he did 2 films about talking apes, I feel like he wouldn't necessarily have a problem including a talking blob of clay. Just saying.
Christopher Nolan's 2 biggest movies, you could say, outside of the Batman, are Inception, and you can make an assumption Tenet's going to be pretty huge. That's where you're suspending belief.
But
no problem with that. But when it comes to Batman, he was like, no.
Well, I think that's a little different because there is something grounded in Tenet and Inception, which I know sounds crazy, but if you think about, you know, the psychology of dreams and, you know, blah, blah, or, you know, the concept of time travel, you know, those are, you know, not proven if they actually exist, but are something actually happening in the world of science, physics, and being explored. So there is something a little grounded in that. But a big, massive thing of like clay, you know, is not so grounded.
Also, Matt Reeves, to me, is a bigger fan of like the Nolan
Oh,
one.
100%. 1,000. Just hearing him talk, when I heard him talk, I was like, wait a minute, did he create Batman? Why does he know so much? Hold on. It goes to, what'd you say, Dom?
I said he was salivating as he was talking.
When I tell you I was, y'all rarely see me quiet. If I am, that means I'm listening. But I appreciate his love for this character the same way I appreciated Jon Favreau's love for Iron Man. That was deep-rooted. And what people don't realize is in Iron Man 2, Jon Favreau was giving you the drunk Iron Man storyline, but with palladium. The palladium was killing him, not the alcohol. So he was giving you the accurate Iron Man that we know of in the deep, depressing Iron Man without going to alcohol and tempting Robert after just getting healthy and everything. And obviously, you know, Marvel wasn't going to let him do the storyline of him being a drinker. But they were toting the line. The Palladium was the replacement for... Right. Well, we still don't know that. We haven't gone deep into his history. Hank might have beat up Janet a little bit. But anyway, no, his love for it reminds me of watching, I don't know if you guys know him, but when you watch Dave Filoni talk Star Wars, you would swear he created Star Wars and George Lucas was just a director. Right. That's how passionate he is. Listening to Matt Reeves talk, Matt Reeves didn't come on, sign his name on a dotted line, and then go direct a movie. Matt Reeves sounds like he said, all right, honey, don't talk to me for at least 30 days. I'm digging deep into Batman. Like, it's about to become my life.
Well, you would imagine that WB has to hire someone like Matt Reeves because as much as you enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman, not everyone did, obviously Batman versus Superman is questionable of its success. I know.
It's a small percentage that did not like Ben's Batman.
Okay, a small percentage maybe within the fandom online, but a large percentage of people that you meet on a day-to-day basis. But anyway, my point is that Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, the two movies that feature, I know that he had cameos in Suicide Squad. That too, 3 movies that are questionable, successes, failures, whatever. You need to knock it out of the park. So you need to have someone like Matt Reeves who comes in as an absolute fan because why should the fans care if the director doesn't care?
Well, that was the biggest question for Justice League. Why do I care when the studio didn't? It's like, why am I sitting here?
And you expected it to work.
Right.
Ooh, look pretty.
It was like, hey, we got to cut shit to make it just 2 hours. Like, that's what really pissed me off. It was like, we got to make a time limit. It's like, wait, what? No, make the movie. Trim it if you have to, but make a movie. Yeah, come on. But no, I will say, Tia, when you watch it over again, I'm curious to see if you see anything maybe that didn't jump out to you before. Because I'm looking at it here. It's 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
Yeah, that's a trailer.
What we're starting to realize from both Marvel and DC, they're starting to forget what the word teaser means. Because Marvel gave us a trailer not too long ago that they called a teaser, and I was like, it's still going. I was like,
yeah, teaser is supposed to be, say, like what they did in the Super Bowl with the Loki WandaVision. Yeah. I was like, that's a teaser. 10 seconds. That's a teaser.
Now look, I want everyone to hear this. I ain't complaining that this trailer. But again, it speaks to if this is what 25% can do.
Yeah.
25% of the movie. That's why it's a tease. We've only seen what they shot.
Picture if Matt Reeves is like, all right, we completely finished it. Here's your trailer. And we're like, does that shit say 10 minutes? Is he showing us the first 10 minutes of the movie? It's like, no. You guys got 2 minutes before for a teaser, so my full length is 10 minutes.
I swear, Joanne is going to have a heart attack after the movie. Like, him and Joelle are going to go see it.
When Joelle texts me and says, Joanne, I'm outside, and we're riding to see the movie, Joelle's gonna go, Duane, I'm not gonna carry you into the theater, right? I'm like, they have wheelchairs.
Later.
I can't use my legs. But this is something truly special. I know, Tia, I know how much you love Batman. Dom, I know how much you like Batman.
Still make so much money.
So much money. And wait, but time out. Here's the funny.
Filthy money.
What I was saying to my dad, and what you were saying earlier about, you're sometimes against seeing someone over and over and over again. You can't point out not one Batman solo movie that did not make a shit ton of movies. Why? Because everybody wants to see Batman. It does not matter. So that's why I think Warner Brothers is sitting there like, would they support it if we had 2 Batman? And they're like, I think they would.
Well, I think that...
I'm like, I would. I don't like it, but I would. I'd see it happily.
I think that the thing with Batman, it's become a little bit like James Bond. You know that there's always going to be a new James Bond. No, in the sense that you always know there's going to be a new James Bond. You almost look forward to who's going to be the next James Bond. So I almost feel like it's like with Batman. Okay, who is the next Batman? When's the next Batman going to come out? That's that. I'm not comparing Batman to James Bond. Of course not.
Say, in about 20 years, people are going to go, James Bond, who's that? They will always say, oh, yeah, I'm ready for Batman.
James Bond Jr.
Exactly. I do want to say this before we start to wrap up. Dom, there's a few more panels I wanted to get your opinions on. But what I truly think is a spectacle of this is everyone that spoke about this movie spoke to the heart of it. And I felt that from this. I felt like it's going to pull at your heartstrings. Whether that means a significant death, whether that means a significant scene, whatever that holds, this is going to be truly special. And what I'm most excited for, Joel, is two things. One, if he can make a murder mystery look this good, his next movie better be Court of the Owls. I don't want to hear shit from him. I think if you're talking the city corruption, it has to lead to Court of the Owls. They are the oldest. It's the oldest organization of Gotham. It's like Court of the Owls, the Waynes. That's what Gotham is.
The secret brother didn't know about it. All this extra shit. Like, it
has to lead to it. And the other thing I'm really excited about the possibility of is if Matt Reeves does something we've never seen before in live action, and he makes Catwoman a permanent ally.
I love that.
I would fucking love to see a scene of her coming over, leaning over Bruce with the cowl off, as Bruce is like investigating something. Just knowing Catwoman's in the Batcave, and it's not because she's trying to steal some shit.
Right.
It's because they've built a friendship or a love, whatever the case may be.
A world, like a Bat family world.
Right.
I would fucking do that.
I mean, there were rumors of a possible either not Robin, but a Dick Grayson mention, or just seeing the Graysons,
right?
Or the Flying Graysons. So we're excited for what this means for Matt Reeves' world, and I kind of don't want it to just stop with the show and just a trilogy. I want him to be executive
and now
producer.
We know the show is in year one.
Exact. Yes, Tia. Did you hear that?
What?
That the HBO Max series about Gotham is going to be year one Batman. So it's going to be about the rumors, the murmurs of a guy dressed as a bat beating up criminals. So Batman exists. We won't see him, but he exists.
Because he's not. It's going to be. The cops never see him.
Exactly.
See a shadow or whatever.
Exactly.
Or the criminals or something. Like, this dude just fucked me up.
Right. So the difference, me and Joel asked this when this show first got announced. How do you separate yourself from the show Gotham that tried to do exactly the same thing? How do you do it? Batman already exists. He's not 10.
I hate it. Like, I'm sorry, by the way. I got distracted because I was just looking at GIFs of Rick Flag on Tumblr, so I'm sorry, guys. But people I never watched the show Gotham. I think I maybe saw a few clips, but that was always my problem. I think we even talked about that. You have Batman, Bruce Wayne, who's 10, and you've already introduced Scarecrow, a Joker.
I'll even say this to you. I grew okay with that, right? With you creating his rogue gallery without a Batman. They did, but here was my true problem. That show never needed Bruce.
No,
it literally, at no point you said, damn, you couldn't have done this without Bruce. You never needed him. So it was like, you had him, and then the very last season, you forced a Batman.
Yep.
And it was just like, no, that was sloppy. You never needed him.
In that show, you didn't even need that.
And the show was never trying to achieve anything other than showing how corrupt Gotham was. And their focus was Jim Gordon. It was never meant to be a focus of Bruce.
Right.
So it was like, why is Bruce there? Or the PD, really.
It was all about the people in it. So
Exactly.
Gordon was a big part. Bruce was a big part. But at the end of the day, the villains were a big part. They didn't need it at all.
No, not at all. Honestly, the show started a corruption show that was focused around Gordon that quickly became a show about villains. So it was like, at that point, you really don't need Bruce. He's 10. What is he going to do? And then when they forced it that one season where he put on the mask and was trying to fight crime, it was like, all right, come on. But Dom, I want to ask you about two things before we wrap this up. One, did you happen to check out the Flash panel where we got to see the new suit?
I saw some images, but it looked so dark I couldn't see fully what it looked like. I saw like the glowing of the symbol and whatnot, which looked cool.
We have it in the group chat if you wanted to check it out in there. It might be a little brighter. I think it is.
Oh, check.
I think it is. I think it's a little brighter. Tia, did you talk about how you felt about the Flash suit? I don't remember.
I think you asked me kind of like briefly, and I said I liked it. Oh, I think we talked about when we were talking about the Snyder Cut panel, and Joel had shared it. No, I agree that it was a little, say, dark, but it looks a shit ton better than what we already have. Because that, and I said it then, the suit was ugly.
Yeah.
So ugly.
What were you saying?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying it almost kind of looks like that Iron Spider suit a little bit.
Little bit. I will say this: the Flash suit to me should always be form-fitting. So whatever his body type is, just be form-fitting to that. And I thought Zach's version was somewhat form-fitting, but a little bulky.
Yeah, it was
a little bulky. But Joel always tells me it's the first suit. It's meant to look ugly. It's meant to look bad, and they improve.
Yeah, because he built it himself, right? So.
Right. But what Matt Reeves just showed us is you can have a first suit that actually hits.
I will say really quick, commenting on the Snyder Cut trailer, whatchamacallit it, I still hate the way freaking Ezra Miller runs.
Oh,
it's
so bad. But that's not going to change. That's the way Zach filmed it.
Yeah, no, the way he runs won't change in this cut because Zach originally had Ezra running like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's always Zach's vision of how the Flash would run.
I just hope that Andy Muschietti changes that.
If Andy changed his costume that drastically, I think he understands there's more that needs to be fixed. He's like, this isn't hockey. You're not going like this. Like, just run.
He needs to tell Ezra before Ezra comes to like the frickin' set, like, please wash your hair and please don't like look as if you just stayed up for like 3 days straight doing coke. Like,
yeah, no, Ezra looks like what I assume the guy from the Umbrella Academy, the one that was like the motivational. Ezra looks like that. It's like, yeah. I'm like,
Klaus.
I'm like, why do you look like Klaus every time I see you, Ezra? Like, you never look like a functioning human being. So did you get to see the image? Did it look any?
Yeah. It looks good. It looks good.
Now, did you notice Michael Keaton's Batman behind him?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it looks really good. They're not right now. They're not missing. They're not like no misses. It's crazy that like, and I was looking online earlier at like people's comments and ain't no misses. Everybody loves it. It seems to be unanimous. I think the only thing that I saw Kanan arguing with somebody about the Snyder Cut trailer because he was talking about the tone of it looks better. I was like, how do you know the tone of it? Because it looks exactly the same. And he's like,
oh, jeez, I saw that.
First of all, the trailer was like, it felt like all new scenes. It was nothing that we've seen before. I'm like, the whole thing.
I don't know
how much of that.
I'll say this, and this is the one and only time I will say it's Snyder Cut fans. So listen closely.
No,
I will commend you for wanting this, because if this movie is drastically different than what Whedon gave us, then I give all the praise to you, because if Zach's version is better, like way better, it will make me go, Warner Brothers forced a bad movie, and Zach had a quality cut just sitting in his house.
All
that
because
to
of
me,
the reaction to BVS,
right?
That is woefully
overblown,
over criticized.
Yeah, it's not that. Again, Ang Lee made a movie called Hulk. I will forever say that. BVS was nowhere near that.
Yeah.
But let's be real. We've seen bad superhero movies. It was not. Maybe it wasn't the greatest, like some people think, but it was not bad.
Led to them overreacting, and then we got some shitty justice.
Let me say this: everyone who hated BVS and voiced their opinion, don't come here and no. It's different than some of the other hate that movie was getting. But just know, everyone that spoke so critically about that movie, it's why you don't have a Man of Steel announcement right now. They completely. It's why he ran away. They freaked out so much about the reaction of Superman. They were thinking for a moment, maybe we just go Supergirl. Y'all did that. Y'all almost course corrected the world to give a Supergirl and not a Superman.
Because of how unnecessarily hateful you were.
I just want you guys to know that going forward, hate will make a studio do some really bad things. So just remember that. Remember that. We don't have a Man of Steel 2 announcement because they freaked out over Superman, the reaction to Superman. But no, what this Snyder Cut, right? What this Snyder Cut looks like, again, I want to apologize to the Snyder Cut fans because in my mind, the movie was only somewhat different, right? The tone of the trailer was drastically different than the tone of the entire movie that we got the theatrical version.
There was some shit in that trailer where I was like, oh shit, this might be interesting.
Just showing Darkseid to open the trailer.
Starting the trailer
made it 1,000 times better than the theatrical version.
Don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, this movie might not have the Green Lantern in it. And guess what? That means it's incomplete to me. I don't care how good it is.
That's true. Is it still incomplete if we get that end credit scene of the general confirming that he's Martian Manhunter?
If he's Martian Manhunter, almost, but still not Green Lantern.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel better.
The only reason why I asked that is if it's Unite the Seven, wouldn't Martian Manhunter be that seventh member, not the Green Lantern?
Technically, but no.
Okay.
Green Lantern always.
I agree with you. I'm just saying, would that at least make it up for you if you saw Martian Manhunter? Okay.
That's great.
That's what I wanted to know. But I'll even say the look of Steppenwolf is drastically better.
Great. Yeah.
It looked like he was one form and then crystallized.
It looked because the look with him looked weird in the Man of Steel.
He looked human in the face. I mean, it was like,
yeah.
It's like, why does he look like that?
I don't mind it. I never mind the human face. My problem was in the BVS, he kind of looked like a monster, which is fine. I didn't mind that either. So when they made him look different,
that look was horrible. But I do prefer you to look more monster in the face. Right. Even Darkseid, you can see that there's human elements in his face, but he looks like Darkseid.
I wish we heard him speak.
I wish we did too. To me, I am curious how much Darkseid did we get? Is that a flashback? I want to see Omega Beams. I don't want to have to wait till Man of Steel 2 comes out in 3072.
No, if you see it, it'll be in the dots.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, he's gonna be in the dots.
No, I know he's gonna be in it, but I didn't know to the capacity of like, is it a small role? Is it a big role?
I can't imagine he won't have a big role in
it. Okay, so then there you go. Then I might get him there. I hope so. But he looked great in this, and the song was so apropos.
Song was really good.
So apropos. So I don't want to be one of those people that, when I'm wrong, I hold it. I admit I was wrong. I legit, A, thought this didn't exist. B, didn't really care if it ever came out. And C, thought it was only maybe 15% of what we already had.
At the end of the day, it's still not done. So no, this version did not exist the way it is.
Oh, fair.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. I always say that. I go, whenever they're like, the Snyder Cut exists, I'm like, and it's a complete film. Like, no, that means that literally Zack Snyder can go into his living room, open up like the vaults and be like, here you go, and they can immediately send it out. No, he still needs additional shooting. He still needs, special effects and all that.
Which they're funding. And he said it himself. I forgot, I think during the Justice Con thing, it wasn't done.
Right.
Like he showed Momoa that version of it, but he wouldn't show Ray because he wanted to show him the finished version of it.
Right.
Why?
But
and he showed the one Jason was the black and white because they didn't like the color because they changed it. That means it wasn't the real cut, his cut, which he's currently making.
Right. And to be fair, if we're being honest with ourselves, Zach didn't really clarify. Like, he didn't come out and say, guys, relax, it's actually not done. Zach was kind of like,
I shot everything I wanted to shoot. Everything is not done.
Zach was sitting at home while everyone was like, no, it's done. And he was like, I don't think you should be saying that.
I think Zach is like strategic in that way. He knew he was just going to keep his mouth shut because he's just going to let the fans do the work. If he came out and said, hey guys, it's not really done, then, there wouldn't probably be that big of a push. But I think he, is like, I'm just going to sit back. Listen, Zach is nothing against the man, all right? He is loving all this shit. I can't believe that girl.
He cried like 4 times. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I can't believe that girl on live, DC FanDome said that she wanted to marry him, and I was like, I think he was okay with it. I think he.
I don't think.
I think he showed off.
He had a lot of money just now.
So. I'm just saying, he turned that camera off. He looked to his wife and he's like, "Yeah, I still got it."
Yeah, no, for sure. And I will say, I told Joel this whole panel of the Snyder Cut was it had 2 names. The first name was the one that they could print, which was the Snyder Cut panel, right? The one that they couldn't print was F you, Josh Whedon. And that's what the real panel was called. Because at every point, it was like Zach was finding ways not to mention the theatrical version. Because to him, that doesn't exist.
Wait, and can I say really quick, I'm sorry to keep butting in here, but I even feel like I can't remember exactly what was said, but like, when he was going through the people, right, like Ben Affleck, and I was like, hey, great to be here. Henry Cavill was like, great to be here. Ray Fisher was like, I'm so good, like, when, and I feel like he was just doing that, on like purpose to be like, F you, Josh.
Yeah, Ray gets, he's gonna take it.
Yeah.
No, we didn't see Jason there, but I think we didn't see Jason Aquaman.
We didn't see him at all for the Aquaman.
Either panel, so he's probably busy filming something or whatever. But I thought it was a good panel. I'm just seeing most of the characters were there, so I like seeing that. The trailer and everything was good. So overall, and like I said, I wanted at least a confirmation that was going on or Martian Manhunter. You can get either, but because they showed me so much new footage. I accept it. And I like it.
Yeah. This was a great day.
It was
a great day.
I cannot wait to watch that Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
That was so epic, and bravo to Rocksteady for being ballsy enough to kill off Bruce Wayne and say, I think the kids can do it.
That's W.
W. Montreal, I'm sorry. I think the kids Rocksteady was Suicide Squad.
Right.
That's why I got confused. WB Montreal. They were ballsy enough to say, I think the kids can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ballsy because you're trying to tell a whole lot of people who play these games for Batman, hey, no need for it. Let these Robins and Batgirl take over.
Let's see the younger crew take over for once.
I'm happy for it, and I told Joel, I hope we get a show like this, where we get to see these guys take over. It
opens the door to seeing it more often. I can't wait to see where the story goes. I'm just so intrigued by that whole trailer and like the technology they're using.
Yeah, and the fact that we confirmed that it is Tim. It's not Damien like we originally thought. Right. It's Tim.
Right.
Never thought I'd see Tim. No one really talks about Tim.
Tim was in the arc.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Tim was in the Batman animated series.
He was. That was Tim. Because Dick was Nightwing at the time. Right. I want to give a huge shout out to Kanan, whose fingers are in an ice bucket.
They probably fell off.
He took his whole hands off. He unscrewed them and put them in an ice bucket, and he put new hands on. God bless that man. But Kanan, we know how rough this is for you. Me and Joel have done this at San Diego Comic-Con. We've done this video of it. It's tiring. My whole Sunday is shot now because I'll be sleeping.
My back hurts, everything.
We legit did this from 12 to it's almost 11 o'clock now.
Like 12:40, we've been on here since 12:40 to now. We've taken small breaks.
But Tia, go ahead, Tia.
Really quick, I know that you guys must be so eager to like just pass out right now, but I just wanted to ask a quick question. I did see that for Titans season 3, they confirmed that Jonathan Crane is going to be in it. So I wanted to know really quick who you guys think should be casted as Jonathan Crane.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. Honestly, the first person I thought of when I saw the confirmation was the guy that plays Klaus. That was the first person I thought of. That was the first person I thought of.
I love that guy so much.
Because to me, his wild
I
personality
think he's a funny guy.
could be someone creepy enough to pull that off. So that was where my mind went. But honestly, I have no idea. I think I'm more anxious to see what version of Barbara Gordon we get.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So that's where my question mark went. And I was really shocked that they were willing to confirm Red Hood this early out.
Already. And I mean, obviously a different version of Red Hood because he didn't die and come back.
Exactly. So this is a Red Hood that chose to be like that rather than having to be because he just died and came back and was super crazy.
Right. A different story.
Which is weird because you could definitely still do that just off screen.
Yeah, what makes him choose? But the problem with him dying and coming back is it's gonna take too long. It's just like even if it happens over a year, it would be rapid. You know, it took years that Jason was dead.
No, you're right. Okay,
and so my only question is gonna be why he chose the Red Hood identity. Because
that's a huge question. Yeah,
because when he died, it was because Joker was the original Red Hood,
right?
And he was basically mocking him,
right?
When he came back, but
and it was to throw off Batman because remember he thought it was Joker.
Yeah,
that was doing this. So yeah, that is a big question mark, and because it's confusing because if Joker exists in this universe, Joker was the original Red Hood. Right. So why would you carry on that mantle?
Right, exactly.
If Joker, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a lot of questions, Tia, but maybe it is. Maybe the Joker was never Red Hood, and he's now the original Red Hood. So there's a lot of questions, Tia, but we were really excited for that panel, only for them to really talk about nothing the entire panel.
No, but at least they revealed shit.
No, they did. They did.
Panel.
The Flash panel was just like, why am I sitting here?
It was nothing new.
I'm like, oh my God, I loved you when I first met you, and I loved you. I'm like,
aside from confirming that I think Godspeed plays a major role in the next season, which is nice.
What I think we assumed that from last season. But yeah, did you have anybody in mind for Scarecrow?
I don't know why in my head. I think because I just watched that show that I told you about, Brave New World, Harry Lloyd. I don't know. He could play because in Brave New World he has to play like a kind of like prim and proper person, which could be his Jonathan Crane persona, but he also has the ability to become like disheveled and unhinged, maybe in a Scarecrow. So it could be just because I have him on the brain from recently watching it, but like the more I think about it, to me it's like because Cillian Murphy was the first one to do it in live action, it's like in my head I think about pale black hair, which is something that Harry Lloyd then has.
We also have to remember this. In most Berlanti projects, he goes unknown. The entire Titans cast, a lot of people have never seen before.
I barely knew. Every time they cast someone in Titans, I'm like,
I've never seen
I know maybe 3 of them.
So what I think Berlanti is on a kick of doing is what right, that was the only people I knew. But I think Berlanti is doing what Feige did when he created the MCU. Not a lot of people knew Chris Evans. Not a lot of people knew Chris Hemsworth. Not a lot of people knew Jeremy Renner, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. So he didn't.
Tom Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth were newcomers.
Right.
Yes, they were.
So he didn't go for huge names. He went with trying to. Right, exactly. But what was smart about him doing that was, at the time, no one cared about Cap, Iron Man, Thor, any of those characters. So, what's the best way to grow a character? By growing the actor. Have them grow together. And now, Chris Hemsworth's DNA is all over Thor. Yep. So, whenever you hear him on cartoons and stuff like that, it now feels like they're emulating how the movies sound.
Well, With Thor, not so much. They still do like old Shakespeare and stuff.
Oh no, for sure. But I'm saying like, remember when Avengers Assemble came out? How that looked like exactly how. Yeah.
But the only person they emulate a lot is like
Tony.
Robert Downey.
Right.
As fucking Iron Man. He basically sounds like Robert Downey Jr.
Right. In almost every cartoon that they've done so far.
The game actually switched it up.
Thankfully, and the look is drastically different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I appreciate Greg Berlanti doing that. He did it with the whole CW verse. I don't know who any of those people are. Not a one person.
Before they were who they were.
Right. Right. So huge props to him on that.
Except that one.
And I don't want to talk about that shit. Dom, last question I got for you so we can get out of here. We got Tia's thoughts on it. We got AJ's thoughts on it. We got Dan's thoughts on it. What were your thoughts on the Black Adam panel? Did you feel as though you got enough for that? Did you check out any of it?
I mean, I kind of am in the same mindset as you are as far as the bar is really low, because the movie been talked about for so long that we all were just like, whatever, it ain't gonna happen.
It felt
this confirmation, this official confirmation and visually seeing like we're doing this, it's like, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. I don't want y'all to like, yeah, we're doing it and be like, never mind, we're gonna shelf it again. So just the fact that they got something was enough. Now, like I said before with Dan, it did seem like you're gonna get this grandiose thing because of The Rock. Right. But The Rock is a showman and a salesman, so that's just what he.
In scatterbrain now, Dom. I forgot we did talk about it. We did. I completely.
Constantly arguing about Black Adam.
Because I was sitting here and I was trying to make sure we got everything with Dom, so Dom didn't feel like we left him out on anything. And I was like, oh, we didn't do Black Adam. And as Dom started talking, I was like,
been a long day.
Did you talk Suicide Squad? I just want to make sure we.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to do one last thing.
I will say, with the cast being that big, there's gonna be a lot of deaths in that movie.
No one's gonna die.
Agent's like no one's gonna die, and I'm like, it's
yeah, I have to disagree with that. I feel like it's gonna be 3 people at the end of it are gonna like remain alive.
And the biggest thing that James Gunn did that David Ayer didn't was he doesn't have a huge cast of big A-list names. So you're not sitting there like, we know they're not gonna die. We know they're not gonna die. You could look at least 85% of this cast, even Idris Elba, and go, they could definitely die.
Yeah, it just might be the last one.
It might be the last one to die, but except for Harley Quinn and maybe Captain Boomerang.
Only because, as you can see from the game, they're key members of the
exactly.
team.
But outside of Harley and Captain Boomerang, I'd say everybody else is up for grabs.
Expendable, yeah.
They're up. I mean, Tia just said it's. She even thought it's possible Rick Flag could be one to bite the bullet.
I'm just saying that I'm just saying if there's listen, do I want no, you know how big of a fan I am of Joel Kinnaman. I don't want him to die, but my whole point is the fact that they're centering this whole, movie around don't get too attached, don't, think that you know who's going to die or you don't know who's going to die. Well, you would assume obviously Rick Flag isn't going to die, and it's like he may die. Amanda Waller may die. I'm just listen. None of this comes from a place of me wanting them to die. I just am saying now you're proving to me that I should be prepared for anyone. It's easy to say. Obviously, Pete Davidson's going to die. Obviously, Weasel's going to die.
The javelin guy will die very quickly and very bad.
He kind of looks like it too. Like he looks like he's the character who dies first. Just like again when Slipknot walked out, you're like, you're a character who dies.
I mean, like Javelin man, it's like if you're picking a basketball team, he's like the last guy you look at.
Wait,
when you're looking at like, man, there's like 2 people left, Javelin Man and Condiment King. You kind of want Condiment King.
Wait, I'm predicting I'm predicting right now, Polka Dot Man lives to the end.
No, I'm predicting. Okay, so
Never know.
if you're going Polka Dot Man, I'm saying Weasel survives. His name is Weasel. He will weasel himself out of death.
I just feel like James Gunn would want to like, not this sounds bad, but like James Gunn would find it funny to like kill his brother off in the movie.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
Get blown up or something. I hope King Shark doesn't die. I don't know.
I would love to see more.
Just to see him
Okay,
more of King Shark.
here's the problem. King Shark has been in Flash comics and Batman comics. I would kind of like to see him in Aquaman. Yes, I would kind of like to see him interact with one of the three of them. Like, that's the problem with doing Suicide Squad and pulling members that people might want to see in the future. Or
seeing an Aquaman, King Shark. Yeah.
Especially if it's a comedic role where he's not really like a villain, but like he's trying to cause trouble for Aquaman, and like he's super funny, and like Aquaman's like, "You again, man? Like, come on, stop this! Like, go away." But
Dom,
okay.
Did you watch the Harley Quinn show?
I saw like 2 episodes, and it aired on something I was watching. I got to see 2 episodes. I didn't get a chance to see the full thing.
Well, so in Harley Quinn, King Shark plays like an IT guy, and Jawan was saying like, I kind of like for King Shark in the Suicide Squad to be similar to his character in Harley Quinn. I'm like, oh, so he's gonna like fix their computers or something?
He doesn't look like he's far off from it. He looks really comical.
He does look like he's gonna be funny.
But this was a amazing event. If they do more like these, we gotta come together and do more coverage.
Well, in
like
a couple of weeks they're doing the TV booth. You know, all the TV panels are gonna be there.
Right.
Probably not as.
There'll be no clips because no one's filmed anything.
Yeah, who knows?
So it'll just be like when they do Batwoman, it'll be telling you what the new season will be like.
Yeah,
Black Lightning is
concept art, and probably accept that.
Right. Oh, we didn't get in depth because it was back to back. Huge shout out to the idea of them possibly greenlighting a Static Shock show or movie.
Yeah.
That is huge news. Me and Joel have known each other for years, and I think every year we find a way to do something with Static Shock. We even asked Chris Williams when we interviewed him for season 1, like, has there been any chatter about a Static Shock? We know that if we don't get it soon,
well, they're bringing Milestone.
It will start to.
Yeah. So Milestone is making a comeback, so now they're probably getting talks, and hopefully we'll get something.
I just want to see more of these younger characters. Blue Beetle, Static Shock. I want to see more guys like that. Blue Beetle needs his own HBO Max show. He definitely does.
I would love that.
He definitely.
I thought that was going to happen. I thought they were going to do a movie or something.
No, they were going to do a movie, and then no one said anything else about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a writer attached to Blue Beetle. I don't know. I know there's a writer.
No, there was a writer.
And there was a rumor that he might have an HBO Max show, but we don't know for sure.
We don't know.
I guess we might find out in a couple.
We'll find out, and we'll find out if there's room for both Cyborg and Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
I kind of find them to be a bit redundant.
They
but...
are. But if they were going to replace Cyborg, it should have been Blue Beetle.
Exactly.
And they never did that, except in the animated movies.
That was it. But that's all we got for you guys on this episode of GVN Reviews DC FanDome. I want to thank Will. I want to thank Dan. I want to thank AJ. I want to thank Tia. I want to thank Dom. I want to thank Joel. And I definitely want to thank Kanan for working tirelessly.
Oh, yeah.
To give you guys up to date. Kanan was posting stuff. I felt like as they were saying it, I'm like, how the hell do you do that?
He was posting shit before it. Like, he posted and then they said it. Like, that's how good he is.
I was like, Kanan, how the hell did you even do that? It was like, I was there. I spoke to them before they started. It was like, what? But huge shouts out to Kanan for this. I enjoyed doing this with you guys. Me and Joel will definitely be doing it for the shows in a few weeks. So if you guys want to join that, please do. It'll probably be HBO Max shows. Maybe we get a confirmation about Swamp Thing revival. Maybe we get Doom Patrol Season 3 information. So there's a lot of stuff that could come from the TV shows. So till then, guys, that's all we got for you.
Bye.
Tom, I love